Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform for small businesses. Over the past 7 years, we've understood what matters most to you, the entrepreneur. And in year 8, we're taking head-on two of your most pressing concerns, that of funding and mentoring. I'm Sunanda Jayaseelan. On the show tonight, we are putting the spotlight on 3 very special companies. First up is Glasco. On the other side of a break is Ashok Griha and T-Hub. Samir, good having you here on the show with us. Let's start by talking about the fact that you are 5 decades plus old as far as the scientific laboratory and scientific laboratory ware is concerned in the country. I want to talk about the idea, the germ of the idea really behind this.
Thank you, Sunanda, for having me on the show. Glasco was started way back in 1969 by my father, and the idea was that my grandfather was into similar kind of business, and he got the training of this business from him and started up his own production. From 1969 till 1996, Glasco was primarily focused in India. In 1996, as the market was opening up, liberalization was happening in India, we decided that we will start with exports. And since then till now, Glasco is now exporting to more than 83 countries worldwide. And 80% of the share of the business comes from export and 20% comes from India.
I want to talk about some of the products that you have at your company. What can you tell us?
So Glasco is primarily into lab glassware manufacturing, and a few years back we also started some lab accessory products which are used in the labs for daily needs, some safety products. And now we have also started with laboratory instruments, benchtop instruments that are used in quality control labs and pharma companies.
And given the kind of quality that you have at your company, I understand that you have a presence not just in India but globally as well. So I want to get a sense really of that. What can you tell us, Samir?
Globally, we are present in 83 countries, and our modus operandi is we work through the distributors primarily. We try to be as close to the end users as possible, working on the solutions and providing them with the best of the products that are required in the industry. Domestically, again, we are very close with the end users, supplying directly to the big pharma companies who use a lot of laboratory glassware and instruments in their quality control labs. And being close to the customer has always helped Glasco in developing the solutions for the customer and coming out with the new product ranges that is required as per the market needs.
So speaking of the international markets, what insight can you share with our viewers in terms of how the international markets are very different perhaps from your Indian markets?
It is complete different scenario working in the global market because there are different kind of standards that are followed. For example, in India, previously Indian standards were followed, which require different specification of making. But if you go globally in South America and America, they want ASTM standards, and in Europe they want an ISO standard, and in Japan they want a Japanese standard. So Glasco is the only company in the world, I can proudly say, who's manufacturing all the 4 different kind of standards from one single plant with the same labor force. Flexibility and versatility is one of the biggest strengths for Glasco, and that is why we have been able to conquer the world market because of the flexibility that we have in making all these different standards.
Speaking of new products, I do want to discuss the Wi-Fi Smart Lab concept. What can you tell us about that? This was something that you premiered in 2018, I understand. What more can you tell us?
As the world is moving towards a new technology, new requirements are coming up from the customers. And going forward, the cloud-based technology has been growing substantially. While developing the new products, we always keep in mind how to make the things more easier for the customer. In a typical scenario, a benchtop lab instrument would require a quality control technician to be monitoring the instrument and experiment. Based on that, we developed the protocol and the software for that, so that it get alerted to his laptop or his app to make any changes to the existing experiment that is taking place on the instrument. With keeping that in mind, we have tried to build innovative products, and will go forward more with artificial intelligence and virtual reality going forward as the technology requires.
You have, I understand, your presence as far as the exhibitions both in India and globally are concerned. For the sake of our viewers, just give us a sense of the impact that these exhibitions really have on your business.
I think it is very impactful to meet end users as well as the customers. Still, I think the old traditional way of building relationships matter, and these exhibitions give us the platform to have a big pool of new customers, new end users, and learning about new technology. So exhibition is the most important marketing tool that we use in terms of getting better access in the world, on the world market stage as well as the Indian market.
Okay, the last 2 or 3 questions, Samir, before we let you go. What are the biggest challenges perhaps that you faced in your business that you can tell us about, how you overcome them, and to use that really to talk to our viewers about any advice you may have?
I think the major challenge for us is that this is a very labor intensive industry, a lot of skilled labor is required. So there are not enough schools dedicated to the glass blowing skills. So we have to develop all these new labor force, training them inside instead of getting it from Polytechnic or instead of getting it from other engineering colleges.
Sure.
Then other challenges is the power. We have enough power, but the distribution is not that great, due to which we being in remote area or smaller industrial areas, these challenges still exist.
Let's talk about the role of technology and technology for a company like yours in an industry which is yours. Talk to us about the role of that.
I think technology is one integral part that if you ignore it, you'll die. This is imperative that for every business to grow, you have to adopt technology, you have to keep your eyes open, because the world is changing, and it has changed a lot in last 10 years, and it will completely change in next 10 years. In Glasco DNA, we try to build a product portfolio which is more technology driven, where people can use the product in much easier way. Just to give you a small example, on one of the product, we built a QR coded process through which we have made the complete product usage paperless in the big pharma labs, which has helped the customers a lot, and a lot of pharma companies have started adopting that technology. It has made life easy for them, where everything get automatically uploaded on the cloud, and they don't have to fill in the worksheets, and all the processes are done automatically. So technology is something that we always strive and we always look forward to adopt in our products, and going forward this will be our core focus.
Samir, one last question in terms of what's next for you in the coming decade perhaps that you can leave us with?
Well, of course, we are growing organically since last 3 years, 20-25%. I think for the next 2-3 years, we'll still grow organically 20-25%. We are trying to increase the basket of the products, moving from lab glassware to lab instruments. We are looking at liquid handling. We are looking at filtration line of products. We are looking at safety line of products. We are looking at lab plastics. So there are many products that are used in the labs. We want to stick to the same channels we want where we can sell, but to increase the basket of products, we are looking at inorganic growth, how to grow inorganically by acquisitions. So I think going forward the next 10 years, our business plan or our thinking is that organically we will be growing by adding new product lines, but also through acquisitions.
Let's move to a short break. On that note, on the other side is Ashok Griha Udyog Kendra and Tea Hub. When we come back, just stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight, 2 very special companies in focus on this segment. First up is Ashok Griha Udyog Kendra and Tea Hub. Arun Gupta of the company is joining us to run us through the business. Arun, thanks for your time here on the show tonight. I understand you started this business in the 1950s, 1957 to be precise, to support really the national movement for self-sufficiency. I want to get a better sense really of that journey.
The journey till now was very exciting. We have witnessed a lot of transformations in the business. But two things which never changed is our ideology and quality of our products. And that keep us fueling towards growth even today. Not only this, but also different institutions recognize us for our business principles of quality and quantity assured. Some of them are CMI and IMRB award for number one in quality, India most promising brand by WCRC London, Brand Leadership Award, SE1A rating by CRISIL, G2Me Award for Best Business House.
Starting the 1980s, I understand Ashok Masale has been exported to Gulf countries. I want to get a sense really of the landscape at that point, any challenges that you faced, anything you can tell us about how you overcame that, and therefore to talk to our entrepreneurs about advice you may perhaps have for them.
During that time, doing any kind of business was very hard. It was not easy, especially when it comes to involving foreign partners. The idea of ease of business not even started taking shape in a brain womb, but we as a group made up our mind to spread our business beyond boundaries. So first we started figuring out partners out there simultaneously, working towards clearing the way for business. I would like to highlight something here that this decision has made us raise the bar for business. And as a starting point to it, we came up with a bold new avatar of our brand.
I just very briefly, for the sake of our viewers, want to get a sense of your product line. What can you tell us?
Our vast range of multi-purpose products provide solution to every cooking need in a household, from traditional cooking spices to ready-to-cook options, from savoring Indian food to international cuisine. This also gives us an edge to counter any kind of hunger over our competitions.
Sure.
And as other projects themselves as a specialized in a particular project, we introduce Ashok Masale Group as a master of cooking and a multi-role solution in kitchen. And we are not only restricted to kitchen, but also present in perfumery segment, manufacturing lights, incense sticks and rolls.
I want to talk about your commercials, Arun, and the idea and the strategy really behind those. What can you tell us?
The idea behind these taglines is to take our thought of brand to people, as these lines are our identity and region of existence. We always believe that relish food upgrades the feel of the moment. That's why स्वाद ही जिंदगी है. While थोड़े में ज़्यादा establish the fact that you need only a small portion of our spices to make food enjoyable. And I delightfully want to share that we have been quite successful in this. And you will witness the same messaging in our future communication as well, might be in a new way.
Arun, last two questions for you. One is the challenges that you faced in this industry that you're in. Just give us a sense of that and perhaps what you've done in terms of being able to overcome those challenges.
The major challenge in this business is that it's turning to be a price-sensitive sector, and it has become more difficult to take quality products to the end consumers, which makes a lot of brands to compromise on consumers' belief, and it becomes more difficult for brands like us to keep that confidence of consumer going, as we always keep on going with the quality first policy over 6 decades, and this is the religion of our business. But the ray of hope is that the consumer is now becoming aware about the quality, and that's the reason why our brands have seen a rise in sales and consumer keeps coming back to us.
All right, then a quick sense of, in the short to medium term, what expansion or growth plans can you share with us?
We are in process of rejuvenating our manufacturing process by modernizing our existing plant, as well as setting up a new ultra-modern facilities, taking hygiene to next level for enabling us to keep up with the market requirements, as we are aggressively looking up to explore new markets and ways to sell our products. We are planning that 10% of our group sale should happen through digital platform in next 5 years. And to summarize, we have a big plan in coming 5 years by setting up new facilities, changing the way business happens and to keep with market trends.
Our third interview tonight is with Ravi Narayan, CEO of T-Hub. I spoke to him about incubators, I spoke to him about startups, and also what the ecosystem needs to provide for startups if they are to be able to utilize that effectively and grow. Take a listen to what he had to say. Such a pleasure having you here in studio with us, Ravi. Talking about the whys, the hows, the do's, the don'ts for entrepreneurs. In fact, I want to think of this as a masterclass where we have an expert like yourself working so closely with entrepreneurs. You have that bird's eye view really of what's working and what's not for small businesses. So let me actually take a step back and talk about your personal journey and talk really about T-Hub and the work that you do and really the model that you follow at T-Hub.
Great, thank you very much for inviting me here. Yeah, it's an interesting phase of my career. So I was an entrepreneur in the US twice. I sold those companies, decided to move to India, and I thought, oh, if I've done two, I should be able to do a third startup very easily. And when I came to India and raised money and bought a company out of Silicon Valley, I thought this is going to be a cakewalk. And in fact, what I found was exactly the opposite. Started building out the startup program in Beijing, Bangalore, and Tel Aviv, and eventually we expanded it to other parts of Europe and US and so on and so forth. So I think it's been building ecosystem, learning from other ecosystems that are either ahead of us or a little behind us, but still very, very vibrant and so much to learn from. I thought this was a very, very important thing for us to start doing ourselves in India. There were readily available models that I had built for Microsoft and other places that we could really bring in and start doing this. So T-Hub is a very progressive platform that the government of Telangana has put together. And all the way from the minister to the principal secretary to everybody in the ecosystem really wants to make this thing into a huge success. As it is, T-Hub is a well-known brand for all the wonderful things that have happened over the last 3 years. So I felt it was an easy thing for me to actually use this platform and build on top of that and take it to a completely different level at a global level, as we did that.
Sure. So T-Hub is described as an innovation hub. Why do you think this model is working really so well compared to perhaps some of the other similar kind of models that we've seen across the country?
Well, first of all, it was one of its kind, and very quickly it evolved into becoming a place where all these startups in Hyderabad, in Telangana, would gravitate to nice place, wonderful facility, and so on and so forth. But eventually, we also began to look at it as a much larger thing. So it was not a co-working space, which is what a lot of people look at, or it was not a startup, incubator or an accelerator. It is actually an innovation hub. Now let me explain to you what an innovation hub is. Innovation hub is where anything related to innovation is happening, right? So startups are the producers of innovations, research labs across the city of Hyderabad, the academic research folks, they are also producing something of innovation in the technology space. So these are people who supply innovations. We also spend equal or even more time on creating demand for innovation, because that's an important piece which a lot of us just forget. It's a unidimensional view of the word. So you need demand for the innovation to also come in, as in the two largest consumers of this innovation could be and is across the world, the corporations and the governments across the world are great consumers or procurers of these innovations. How do we get them started on this whole innovation journey? Because first of all, if they do, startups get to benefit. But also,
the entire ecosystem also benefits, definitely.
Exactly. And at the same time, if they don't, they're not going to be relevant in the next several years. They just are going to go away.
So how are you creating this demand?
So we spend a lot of time in taking corporations through this journey. So first of all, we introduce them to what are startups? How do how do they look? How do they operate? How do they think? How do they build their products? How do they get them out? So all the way from just getting them to meet, understand, to actually start small engagements, building a proof of concept maybe, to actually helping them chart out their entire product strategy or their IT strategy using startups, to actually then beginning to think like a startup. And that's the entire journey is what we call as, a corporate innovation program. And also on the other side, we spend that same amount of energy with the government of Telangana, and in helping them understand what are the possible ways in which they can leverage all this wonderful technology coming out of these startups.
Completely out of time on this episode. If you have any feedback for us, our contact details is coming up on your screens in just a moment. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.